Welcome to the Marriage Be Like podcast. We're your hosts, Kenny
and Kenya.
And we are so glad that you are joining us today. Listen, this podcast is here to discuss love and relationships, life topics, and how to navigate through it all.
Disclaimer, we are not specialists or counselors or professionals in these fields. We are a married couple who's got 27 years of life experiences under our belt. We hope to open some discussions, build communication, and plant some seeds. So sit back, enjoy, and let's have a conversation and grow together. Welcome back to another episode of Marriage Be Like podcast.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Yes.
If you are just joining us for the first time, welcome and thanks for listening. We're asking that you share, spread the word, tell your family and friends that you have found an awesome marriage podcast.
The best podcast.
Yes.
Yes. So you can go to our website, check out all our past episodes at marriagebelike.com. .com. Yeah. Or wherever you get your podcast. Mm-hmm. Right. So thank you for listening on envision-radio.com. Right. Yeah. So shout out to the Envision-Radio team.
Yes.
You know, I keep saying Envision-Radio team. It's
Envision Radio. Notice it actually. It's Envision Radio. You're correct. You're trying to fuse the title and the website.
So, get it in your head, envision-radio.com.
That is correct.
Yeah. So
it's March.
It is.
All right. And so because it's March, we are celebrating Women's History Month.
Okay.
So last week we talked about and gave facts on women's history. And last week we celebrated Women's International Day.
Okay, yes.
March the 8th.
Yes.
So this week we're going to give a quick piece of history.
All right.
Kamala Harris.
Like real recent history?
Yes, because she made history.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, wait. You didn't have to have the attitude, though. I mean, man, the shaking of the neck and all of that.
Okay, that's true. All right, let me tone it down. Okay. Kamala Harris made history. And yes, it was recent history.
Yes.
But she still made history.
She did. Okay. Yes.
So she made history by becoming the first woman, first Black, and first South Asian American to serve as vice president of these United States.
All right. What a wonderful precedent to set as vice president.
Yes.
President for president.
And here's the thing, especially in this political climate right now, whether you are a fan of Kamala Harris or not, her history that she made is what matters.
The barriers that she broke.
Yes, the ceilings that she shattered.
Yeah.
Giving hope to so many young women to be able to see that is a possibility because it's been done before.
It's been done before. And So that's great. That's great.
We'll do a little bit of current history. Yes.
What is that? I mean, you hear a song, it's an instant classic.
Yes, it is.
Right. Yeah. So we know that we're watching history being made, not just because she is the first. But here's the thing. When we look at it has been, wow. This is we're in 2025 right now.
Yeah.
That was 2019 that they were voted in.
Yes.
President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. So 2019, people.
Yes.
I mean, and I said this.
His name will be forever Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you can't just say, you're right. I can't just say Kamala.
I actually did. I came in on Kamala. I think I was just a little excited.
Yeah.
Vice President.
Because you had all the energy at the very beginning. So
you told me to calm it down.
I did. I'm sorry. So,
I even stopped my neck rolling.
Yeah, because I got a little seasick.
Don't
all that neck rolling. I got seasick.
Don't even do it. I was just excited. That's all.
Okay. All right. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're discussing conflict resolution.
That's right. Oh, we're not done with this. We were talking about this last week.
No. Well, yes. It was a piece of it. We talked about how to argue with your spouse.
Yes. All right. So this is a part of that.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And then next week.
Again?
Oh, you're going to get how to resolve your conflicts.
Okay. All right.
There's pieces to it. And we're only doing, pieces of it, but there could be lots that we could go on for a while discussing conflict resolution and how to do different things.
Yeah, I mean, we've been married for 27 years and we're still trying to figure out how to resolve certain conflicts.
I think that 3 episodes is plenty.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Again, especially since we can go on, look, people argue. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and
just because you've been married for 27 years don't mean you don't have conflict. If you're married 50 years, you can still have conflict.
And as long as we're two different people that think two different ways,
go.
There's going to be some sort of conflict. So
there you go.
So why not
have the same brain? We don't think alike.
So why not try to figure out the tips and tricks and hacks to conflict resolution
in the marriage? There you go.
Right.
See?
Okay.
All right.
I'm game.
All right. So let's do a quick review.
All right.
We already said that we talked about how to argue with your spouse.
Yes.
Last week, we listed some main topics that couples argue over.
Right.
We gave how not to argue.
That's right. We did.
And we gave suggestions on how to discuss things instead.
Okay.
We decided not to even call it arguing.
Not call it arguing, but discussion.
We also talked about not calling it fighting.
Okay. Because, fighting sounds like it's physical, right?
Yeah, it does sound more physical. So we immediately cut out the fighting part.
Yeah.
But yes, so then we talked about arguing. By the time we got to the end of the podcast, we would call it discussion more so than arguing.
Yes.
It might be passionate discussing.
Passionate, okay.
But, no yelling, no name calling, and those kinds of things, right?
Can I say that you're crazy for thinking that way?
Look, we just trying to give everybody tips. Because if I called you a name, you wouldn't be happy about it.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay. All right. So then what were some of the topics that couples argue about, right? You said we listened to, what is it, like money and bills?
Correct.
Right. We said, sex and intimacy.
Doing house chores.
Yeah, because
Me.
Well, yeah.
Let's not cause an argument now.
Wait, no, I was just going to say, you talk about me and these dishes.
Yes. And chores really in general, but
I
dishes.
thought we resolved all of that.
We did.
Okay. So.
Kids and parenting. I'll just keep you rolling.
Right. Communication. And family members and friends.
Members and friends. Yes, because they are outside things that can cause problems in a marriage.
That's right.
If you allow it.
Yeah. If you allow it.
Yeah. And oftentimes people do.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yes. So that's what we discussed. So go back, make sure you listen to the other podcast from last week so that you can catch up on everything.
That's right.
We've been doing this now since January, so you can go back and see quite a few podcasts.
That's
or watch,
it.
listen
to the words that are coming out of my mouth.
That is correct.
Are you listening to me?
So while we're talking about listening, let's go on and jump into our segment.
Okay, segment. What segment are we jumping into then?
What moved me this week? All right, so let me go ahead and give why we do a segment.
Yes.
For those who are just listening.
Yes.
And thank you for listening again. We know that we get new people each week, so that's why we try to say it every week.
Yes.
So our segments are ways that you can talk with your spouse and build communication there. Just other little things to discuss in your downtime so that you all can get to know each other better.
Yeah. And this particular segment, right, what moved me this week, helps us to see a little bit of insight in each other.
Yes.
And see how we are impacted by various things. We may not be together throughout the entire day or throughout the entire week. So something may happen, or we may see something or hear something that impacts us. And it gives us more of an insight on how we are moved from week to week.
Yes. So it can be about anything, whatever it was that moved you.
That's right.
Take that moment and discuss it with your spouse.
Yes.
Each of you.
That's it. Yeah. So are you going to start this one off? Are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
So what moved me this week, and actually is going to come with a shout out.
Okay. All right.
What moved me this week was I had one person tell me that they really have been enjoying the podcast. They listen every week.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. I enjoy doing the podcast, but I guess I just didn't really consider anybody else really telling me that they enjoy it.
Okay.
I'm hoping that people enjoy the podcast.
Okay.
I'm hoping that they're learning. But you don't know that until someone
Somebody
says
says something, right?
Yes. The other one was, and this is where the shout out comes in. She's gonna get me though.
Okay.
Michelle Lester.
Okay. Yes.
I was talking to her and she was laughing. And she sent me a text and she spit out her tea
Uh,
from laughing at us.
oh wow. Okay.
Listening
Then
to the podcast. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I hope nobody was around when that happened.
She was in her office.
Okay. So now she's got a mess in her
Yeah,
office.
she's working and listening, and there you
Okay.
have it.
All right.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, shout out to Michelle Lester for checking us out on the Marriage Be Like podcast.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I think this is it's great to know that people are impacted by something
Yes.
that you are passionate about.
Yes.
I mean, especially when you put a lot of time into this, because you put a lot of time into this. Okay. And I definitely appreciate you just spearheading spearheading this whole thing, right? And I see this as, I mean, though we do this together, this is your show.
Yes.
This is your show.
It's our show, babe.
I mean, it is us doing
I do
it.
much of the work, but it's our show.
So I want to say I appreciate you for it. So I do want to additionally affirm your effort in all of this.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. So is it my turn?
Yes, I thought yes.
You thought I was gonna?
I thought you understood that it was your turn.
Okay. So this happened to me today, actually.
Okay.
We spend an obscene a lot of time on our phones looking at Facebook and things like that, right? And we come across the videos, and I just like watching
and trying to advertise our businesses and so on and so forth. I think people in general spend a lot of time.
On it. And so I've been sharing those little videos about that parrot that's been yelling.
Yes.
Anyway, that's not what moved me this week, but
okay.
That was just hilarious. So, some parrot has just been yelling at its owner, and it's just hilarious to me. But what did move me this week was another video that I come across. When we see the loss of when we have a loss of a person, maybe a family member, things like that. I had an auntie that passed just last week.
Yeah.
And so you think about how you're impacted by that. But I'm tell you, a person who passed that really had an impact on me, that wasn't even a family member I had never met, was Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one really caught me off guard. As a basketball fan, as a Laker fan,
it's a hard hit.
That was pretty.
Kobe fan.
I mean, you say what you want about Kobe, you can like him, love him, hate him, whatever, but you have to acknowledge what he did on the court, on a basketball
court. Impact on the world.
Yeah, honestly. And then he won an Emmy, right, for his little short, the animated short called Dear Basketball, and that was amazing. So what really impacted me was coming across a video today of someone sharing their experience with him. And she says, I mean, at the time she was pregnant, right? And she just a reporter on ESPN, but she was saying that she was excited about meeting him. She was at the game. She was meeting him, and he talked about how he was a girl dad. And he was really excited about it, and all that. And I'm just thinking about the soul that is no longer here, that we lost, that really poured into his daughters, that really had such an impact on life in general, and how we enjoyed basketball, and what I believe we would have enjoyed in film as well, because he was really growing in that aspect. So that reminded me about how that took me back to how I felt when I learned that he had passed. And so it just that impacted me, because he was somebody that
he was great.
Yeah. So that's it.
And honestly, just to piggyback, basketball has not been the same for me.
Oh, really?
It really has not. Since Kobe passed, I don't know what shifted, but it.
But he wasn't even playing then.
He wasn't even playing. I know, but I would still watch.
Yeah.
And once he died, I have not. I don't know if you noticed. Have you noticed? I have not sat and watched a full game since.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know And yeah, he was retired, and I was very involved with watching and following his career and all the other things that he was starting to do.
Yeah.
Even his daughter Gianna, and
Hmm.
but I don't know. Yeah, it was almost like basketball died with him.
Wow.
That's how I kind of felt about it. And then I
Yeah.
started kind of picking it back up again. But yeah, we used to have great discussions about basketball. Now I'm like,
Yes.
now who is that again?
Yes.
And it's just been different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I still can't get over you didn't remember us running the length of the cruise ship trying
I
to get
did
to the
not,
game.
but I believe that I did do
Yeah.
that.
You did. You did. I'm trying to, eventually you're going to remember. It's going to click. You're
It
going to
was
be
a
like,
long
I
time
do
ago.
remember.
It was a long time
It
ago.
was. It was. Anyway,
I remember the cruise though.
yeah. See, okay. You know what? That's a whole.
I
There's a lot
mean,
more to unpack on that. So anyway, we'll talk about that another day.
mhm.
All right. So are we going to discuss our communication with each
Yes.
other in the past times,
We
current
will.
times?
Yes, because I think that I think it might be helpful to some people,
Okay.
maybe even to us too.
Maybe even to us.
Yeah. Why talk about conflict resolution if you don't discuss how you've overcome some things too? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know our communication today is better than it used to be, and we said that in the last
Yes.
episode.
Yes.
Um, Looking back, I'm not sure I really tried to communicate.
Really?
I don't think it was intentional though.
I mean, because I mean, well,
I'm
let's
big
say
on
today.
look, not just today. I've always been big on communication, but in my head, I somehow thought I was communicating.
Ah.
Does that make sense?
So you say, okay, because you did say you didn't, it wasn't intentional.
Right. Um, being being laid back, being an introvert, being um, non-confrontational,
Yeah.
and I think that I'm also one who picks my battles.
Mhm.
But back in the day, I used to be very passive aggressive.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my passiveness would just linger, 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 linger. And, it just might be 2 years from now before I
Wow.
ever say anything. And it may not even be in an aggressive way. But the problem was the things that were happening in my head. Somehow I thought that you knew those things, whether I said it or not. You were just supposed to understand that this was a problem.
And you know what? I do remember you actually saying that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to tell you this.
I would say that often.
Yeah.
And in my head, I thought that's how it worked. You
Mm.
were just supposed to know me well enough to know that this I'm not happy with.
Yeah.
And because that was my thought process, and I would only even say, you should know this in my aggressive state when I'm already fed up and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In our argument time. In those days, we straight up argued.
We did.
So, and those arguments wouldn't even last long. They would just be like, okay. They wouldn't last long. There would be lots of attitude
Yeah.
afterwards. So it took me a while and counseling to help bring that out of me because I really believed you knew.
Mm.
So my passive aggressiveness turned out to linger. Sometimes it was even longer than 2 years because I just didn't want to talk about it because you were supposed to already know. Why am I discussing something that you know?
Right.
So why not just go ahead and change it, Kenny Green? I just don't understand what the problem is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in all honesty, I never said anything to present to you a problem.
Mhm.
So you weren't supposed to know what was happening in my head. But I thought you should have.
Yeah. And so on top of that, and I don't want to make it sound like this is all about you, but to
No, I'm okay with it because I understand how I was. I do
I mean, because
understand.
I definitely had my share, right? I mean, but mine was a little different, but the thing that really complicated that
Mhm.
was that you would hold so much in.
I would.
You would hold so much in,
Yeah.
and where I would get confused because it would take so long for you to say something that all this time, like you say, if it would take 2 years 2 years later, I'm thinking everything is hunky dory. Everything was great.
I have built a whole building in my head of issues.
And as far as I could see, it was green pasture. You know what I'm saying? But there's a big brick building there that I couldn't see. It was cloaked.
Yep.
You know, and but by the time it came out, it was, I mean, as tall as the Empire State Building.
And then I couldn't understand why you were shocked about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that
The nerve of me.
So, you know, on top of being expected to have already known.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I never saw that big giant building that was sitting in the middle of the green pasture that I thought never existed.
Right. Because I would still go on with day to day.
Yeah.
I would rarely even show that I was frustrated about anything. I would just put it aside, put it off in a little corner in the back of my head.
And I imagine my ignorance to what you were experiencing, what you were going through during that time actually added fuel to that fire.
It could have.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I behaved in a manner that you perceived to be apathetic, or, you know, I didn't care. I didn't care because I didn't know. Then, you know, for me, I imagine that would, for me, it would really frustrate me even more.
Yeah.
If I felt like you didn't care. But if you didn't know to care, then you were just going to go on continually with a seemingly apathetic attitude towards something. And so I would have just been fuming for no reason.
And it was very difficult to navigate any of that, especially not knowing. And I'm going to specifically say during pregnancy.
Okay.
Pregnancies.
Yeah.
First off, they were back to back. So that
yeah.
That's 2 years in a row.
We didn't get too much of a break, did we?
No. So that was 2 years in a row, and we were newlywed still.
Yeah.
So we were really still learning each other. We had been together, but we didn't know each other as far as pregnancy, because that's not what we had gone through before.
Right.
I didn't know. I mean, pregnancy was different for you as well.
Yeah.
But also it was different for me. My body was just out of whack. That's really how I felt. I was not a happy camper during pregnancy. I didn't like being pregnant. So that was the first problem.
Okay.
I had no problem bringing children into the world. I didn't want to be pregnant, and I didn't know that until I was pregnant.
Wait. I don't know that that's completely true.
It was true. I did not like all the things that it did to my body. And remember the first pregnancy, I was on bed rest.
Yeah, you were.
So that was next to torture.
Yeah.
I had to quit my job.
Yes.
There was a lot that went with that pregnancy.
Sure did.
And I had to protect my child that I was carrying. But I started off itty bitty. I gained so much weight. And so that was a total hit to my self-esteem. There was just a lot of things, you know, just the cravings. I was a vegetarian before.
Okay.
I had to change my eating. I couldn't be a vegetarian while pregnant.
Do I remember? I need to tell this story. Can I tell the story?
I don't care if you tell the story. I'm okay
because
with
you
it.
know what happened.
I do know that I struggled at first because I cried because I didn't want to eat meat. I didn't want to go there because I hadn't for so many years already.
Yeah.
And so my doctor had to convince me to do it.
So you ain't gonna let me tell the story?
No, I'm gonna let you tell the story after I'm done my little piece.
Okay, go ahead.
My doctor had to convince me to do it and express that I just wasn't going to be able to. Really, at the time, I didn't have the knowledge. I could probably do it now. But at that time, I didn't have the knowledge to be able to eat in a vegetarian way.
Okay.
Or even a vegan way while being pregnant.
And getting the nutrients. And
getting the nutrients, yes. And I was having a problem pregnancy. So it was just a lot happening.
Yeah. Can I tell my story?
You can tell your story.
So though I remember that one time, and this actually was with the second one. This was the second pregnancy, right?
The second pregnancy.
And you
was a better pregnancy, but I didn't feel much better about it.
You sent me to, what was it? I went to Burger King, right? So there was one not too far from where we were living at the time. I went to Burger King. You sent me with a specific order, and I went. And I somehow got that order wrong, didn't I?
Yes, I sent you for.
It was like a fish sandwich. Yeah, you wanted a fish sandwich, and I came back with some burger, didn't I?
You came back with a Big Mac.
I didn't know Big Mac at Burger King. Come on.
Sorry, quarter pounder. Well, I don't know what it was. It was a burger.
A Whopper?
Maybe it was a Whopper. Maybe it was.
Yeah, Burger King sells Whoppers.
Oh yeah, that's true. Again, I'm vegetarian. I don't for real know.
So I came back with a Whopper and some kind of chicken sandwich for myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that I got you the wrong
Because
thing,
I was craving the fish sandwich.
yes. So then I had to go back out.
Sure did send you right on back out.
I had to go back out to get that fish sandwich. And I'm starving too now.
Yes.
I was pretty hungry myself.
Yes.
But I
you
left
got my order wrong.
Yeah, I did. So, I had to go back. I left all the food on the table so I can go get this fish sandwich. And by the time I got back, the only thing that was left was a fish sandwich that I just bought. And you had eaten everything else, the Big Mac, the chicken sandwich, the fries, drunk all the drinks, and left me with a dry fish sandwich.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. Because the thing about it, and it actually surprised me because I didn't really have those things.
Right.
I didn't even like those things. I didn't even want to crave the fish because at that time I wasn't a pescatarian.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't eat fish, remember, at that time.
Right.
Not even beforehand. So I was like, I don't know why I'm eating this, but it sure is good during this pregnancy.
Left
My
me
son
with
must really want it.
a dry fish. I
we
mean,
didn't
just
know what we
dry.
were having at the time. My child must really want this food. I just can't sit here. So he's taking forever.
I mean, it was a quarter mile up the road. I don't understand how much time.
It didn't take me no time to eat it either. It didn't take me no time.
I mean, when I got back and all that food was gone, I couldn't even believe it. Man.
I honestly didn't think I was going to eat it either because I didn't want it. But I was hungry. So then that trumped everything.
Yeah. Anyway, so there was a conflict that we had to resolve then, right?
You ate that fish sandwich.
You know what? I don't, and because it was just by principle, I was not going to go back out and get what I wanted.
Because I could have turned around and ate that fish sandwich.
And ate that fish sandwich too. I know it. I know it. I certainly wasn't going to leave it. So, it was going with me. It was going to go with me if I went out, but I didn't go out. So anyway, so, okay. Yeah. So back to our communication. So you talked about how he would store things up. And let me tell you something. I really could not understand how something from 2 years ago would come up in a conversation today.
To me, at that time, to me, it was still decently fresh because remember, I had put it off in the back of my brain. So then when something reminded me or even triggered, that joker would shoot right to the front.
Yeah. And you know what? And you were triggered by a lot of things too.
Lies you tell. No, sir. You was just a trip. That's what it was.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. Maybe. I'm grown now. I'm grown now.
Thank you, Jesus.
Not as much of a trip as I used to be. Yeah. I'm smarter, wiser.
I'm better.
Much better.
That's right.
I made it. Anyway. So my challenge, and I think I mentioned this before in a previous episode, that my biggest thing was just being defensive.
Yeah.
I think, was just being defensive and I don't know, maybe a little bit of, even though I did not, like you say, you expected I would know certain things and I didn't. And maybe there were times that I didn't pay enough attention to recognize.
There were definitely times. There's no maybe.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and fix that right now. There was no maybe. There were definitely some of the things that I was upset about in those days. I'll say I did not mention, but there were some things you really could have known just by knowing me. You just were oblivious.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, that's one of those things where, walking into a marriage, generally your expectation, you think you're just being you as you have always been.
Yeah.
But you also have to consider the fact that there's whole nother human being that you've got to work with.
Right. Who is also non-confrontational.
Well,
which is one of our problem was, neither one of us talked to each other about issues because we didn't want to start nothing.
Yeah.
And when I did come to you and talk about things, you were so defensive, which really only made me push back more. pull back more,
Pull
not push
back,
back,
yeah.
pull back,
Pull back, yeah.
because it was like, you know what? I already know he gonna be on it, so ain't no point in me bringing it up. I ain't got
So
the time today.
so that certainly made, man, it made the growth process
Hard.
very difficult for us.
And longer.
And long,
We
yeah.
probably could have done it in less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Those first 10 years was rough.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so then what we're saying here is that it's very important to recognize where our challenges are when it comes
Yeah.
down to communicating, whether or not we are individually, whether or not we are, like you use that term, non-confrontational. If we are
Mhm.
afraid of, I don't want to say afraid, but we are more
Well,
confrontation averse.
yes, but sometimes it is fear,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. I know it was for me. I didn't want to have the conversation either,
Yeah.
whether you were defensive or not. Does that
Oh,
make sense?
okay.
So for me, it was kind of a fear.
Yeah.
Um, having to start the conversation and then having to knowing I got to take time to talk about how I felt about it. That means I got to say what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And my challenge is, if I have something that I want to share, um, I may not be ready to hear the response.
yes. Yeah. I could see that.
I mean, because particularly when
Particularly in those days.
right,
Yeah.
and when you have a valid, your response is very valid, and then actually can refute the argument that I'm making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if I am potentially wrong in what I think,
I'm trying to bite my tongue.
no, that's fine. We're here 27 years in. 27 years in, you ain't gonna hurt me now.
Good, because so often you're wrong. I just need to,
Oh, so
since I
often.
ain't got to bite my tongue about it.
So often.
I
Wow.
won't say all the time. See, this time I didn't say I was always right.
Yeah.
I didn't say you was always wrong. I just said so often.
So often. Okay. So you give me one time to be right. Is that what you're doing?
Ain't my fault.
Oh wow. But you said it. So so there. But yeah, I think, and for me, being defensive, I think, I'm trying to figure out how you grow into that. Um yeah, especially when you feel like, I kind of feel like one of the things that I grew up where, um I didn't do much wrong.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was,
At least according to your family, I think they just protect you.
yeah, I
I
mean,
think you did wrong.
but you forget now. I mean, you can ask all my aunties and uncles, my
You were
mama,
the
my
first
daddy.
grandchild. Everybody just loved you, and they'll just say you didn't do no.
No, I didn't do wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Did not do wrong.
Well, you made up for it in adulthood.
What?
There you go.
Wow, I made up for it in adulthood.
There you go.
But I
You're a
mean,
late bloomer.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, but so having not so much heard that I'm such a good kid, but not really getting much. I don't want to say much correction, because
Yeah.
I did
A
grow
lot
up
of
in a pretty,
feedback on your actions.
right.
I understood. Yeah.
Yeah. So then to hear that as an adult, it's like, whoa, wait a minute now. I'm not
I've been
accustomed to
good
that.
all my life. What you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. Now I'm grown and you gonna tell me I'm doing wrong? What? So I think that was, and I want to be careful not to blame my family for this.
No.
So to my family that's listening, it ain't your fault. No, I recognize I'm my own person,
hmm
and so as we grow, we've got to learn how to navigate through life, learn behaviors and things that, I don't want to say generally accepted, but behaviors that would actually be conducive to a great relationship with your
Yeah.
spouse, and growing together. So there are things that I have to learn,
Yeah.
and I had to learn those things, and I'm still learning.
I mean, you're still human.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn until we can't learn no more. But
Yep.
that's just life. You keep learning, and to learn is growth.
And to learn is growth.
hmm
All right. Do you want to play a game now?
Yes, let's play a game.
All right. You ready? Are you ready to play this game?
Yes.
Okay. Did it?
Ah, I'm so
I was
sorry.
trying. Come on
Oh my
now.
goodness, I don't know what is wrong with me.
This is your thing.
I'm
You
ready to
ready?
play the game. Yes.
Okay.
Da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da. That is the silliest thing ever. The goofiest thing.
Hey, we're goofy. It's okay.
Yes. So today's game is I do or I don't.
Yes, I
Right.
do or I don't.
I'm at an unfair advantage because I wrote the questions for this game.
Yeah, I haven't.
You have
seen
not
it
seen
yet.
them yet.
I saw the first one. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, I do or I don't.
I do or I don't.
And for those who just listening or those who forgot, this is just another way of communicating with your spouse, just so that you all can have some fun time together and see and learn more about each other.
Yes. Yes. So the first one is drum roll. That's my drum roll. Like to argue.
I don't.
Neither do I.
Yeah. I don't.
Neither do
I
I.
hate it. I don't even like to be mad.
I don't either.
It's just
I don't either. And listen, when we are at a
takes too much
disagreement,
energy.
when we are at a disagreement and it really gets, intense.
Testy.
Yeah, I can't see, I can't think, I can't even talk. All my senses are just gone.
Now that does not happen to me.
Yeah.
Once I'm in it, I'm in it.
Yeah. So you're a better arguer than I am. I'm terrible at it. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. I can't, yeah. I'm terrible at it. So no, I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Like I said, it really just takes too much energy. It just does. And it's so, I mean, like, it's so unnecessary.
But you do it better than I do.
I do. But somebody's got to bring the points home. Somebody's got to do it.
Okay.
You clearly said you're not going to.
Well, that's not what I said.
What'd you say?
I said I have a hard time because I can't talk.
Okay. We be here till only God knows when.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I don't have that kind of time either. Or the energy. Let's just go ahead and knock it out.
Neither do I.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we'll figure it out. All right, next one. You ready?
Like drama television shows. I don't.
Well, it depends on the drama now. Because we started a new series.
Oh, yeah. I guess I do like that one.
Yeah, we started a new series.
This Is Us was a drama. I liked it as well.
Okay, yeah, I didn't watch any of that.
I couldn't watch all of it. I did like the first 2 seasons. I don't even know how many seasons there were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can only take so much drama.
I mean, because we do watch, I mean, there've been several television series that we would watch together. They're pretty dramatic, right? I mean, we like all them doctor shows.
Was it Bel Air? It's a drama. It's a
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah.
The doctor shows. I actually really like the doctor shows. So.
Yeah. The new one that we're watching is Paradise.
Paradise.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a thinker.
Yeah. And you know what? So I had to, for those who are listening, I had to watch it first before she could watch it, right? Before I could determine whether or not something she would watch.
Watch it.
Yeah. Which leads us to the next I do or I don't, right? Get scared in suspenseful movies.
Oh, I absolutely do. As soon as that little dramatic music start coming on, I immediately get scared. I can't do it.
Oh, it is the funniest thing.
It's actually stressful. I cannot.
She's stressed. I'm laughing. I get so tickled because she
I jump
jumps
at everything.
She jumps. I mean, and
at least when it comes to TV. Now in real life, it's like, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
But on TV, I don't know. It's like it takes me, and I'm in it, and then I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah. So then Paradise, I had to watch it. I had to watch the first 2 episodes, and then come back to her and say, okay, yeah, you may like this one. So.
And I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But
anyway.
if it gets too much, then I'm gonna be out.
And so there, she abandons me, and then I got to finish something by myself because I'm in it, and she leaves me.
I don't like drama in my life. I don't like drama really on TV. I don't like stress.
Mm-hmm.
Life brings enough, and I just feel like I don't have to put it into my brain if life is already bringing enough of it.
I think people
doesn't necessarily bring a lot of drama and stress. It just, I don't know.
I think people like watching drama on television because they compare their life to what they see and say, well, mine ain't like that.
Oh, I don't want any of it.
So anyway, all right, well, there's our game
I'm
for
a comedy
today.
gal.
Who won that game?
Hey, what does that mean? You did, since you liked all these things?
No, I didn't like to argue.
Oh,
I didn't like to argue.
You don't like to argue.
It depends on the
You
type of
do
drama.
like drama television.
It
Oh my
depends on
God, that's all you watch.
No, it's not.
Let's just be honest.
Uh-uh.
You're not gonna be for real though. You're
No,
not gonna
for
be
real.
honest
Because you said This Is Us is drama. I did not watch not 1 minute of that.
of that particular show. Name off some other shows. Actually, tell me a show that you watch that ain't dramatic.
Superstore.
That's the one show. The only one. The only comedy in your repertoire. Yes. All others are dramatic. And then on vice versa, I might have one show,
Well,
maybe two, and all the rest of mine are comedies.
well, I watch enough Superstore that
Ugh,
it makes up for it,
I
right?
don't think so, no.
I think how many
Absolutely
times have
not.
I gone through Superstore?
I don't know.
I mean, I watched the entire series probably about 5 times.
It is a funny show, though.
It's a funny show. I just so anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. We still talking about how we fail in communication.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I think I've grown to a point now where I understand that I make mistakes.
Yeah.
And
I've grown there too.
and because I recognize that I make mistakes, and I'm allowing myself to be corrected,
Hmm.
all right, in certain areas, then I don't get as defensive as I used to.
Yeah.
You know, in the past, because I felt like I can do no wrong. I got this. I'm the best husband ever.
But we can't both feel that way because I was the best wife ever. I ain't do no wrong. I was always a good kid. So I don't know what you're talking about, even though I didn't get defensive though.
Well, because you
I
didn't.
would just discuss it, but I still very much felt the same. You blessed to have me. What you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, but
I am, but
that's just that young and dumb mentality for me. I think is what it really was.
yeah.
Just and getting past that because I didn't
Mhm.
feel like that with nobody else. It was just with you.
Oh, okay. Well, get it together then.
I did. I did. Yes.
Get it together. I mean, so I think that we have grown together, and
Yeah.
it might have taken a little longer than we would have liked. But here's the thing, and I want to encourage those who are listening. I don't know that there is a set amount of time that it should take. We say that,
Agreed. Lots of people say it's the first 5 years.
right?
Others say it's the first 7 years. In
Yeah,
our case, it was 10.
yeah.
But
So we're sitting there on that fifth
thank
year
you.
trying to figure out, okay, when is this going to click
When is it
now?
gonna? And we're both pointing at each other, talking about, so
Yeah.
when you gonna get it?
Right.
Well, we
Yeah.
both had to get it.
Yeah, and that perpetuates the problem.
It does.
Like you're walking away,
Because
but
in
you won't
those
get it, 'cause-
right in those areas we were the same. Just like you said that you were a good kid growing up. Well, so was I. We were both the oldest child.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, we were the oldest, and we had younger siblings behind us that weren't always great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I did get in trouble because I would mouth off, but for the most part, I was a good kid.
I didn't get in trouble for anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But I was spoiled by my aunties and so on and so forth. So it does. I think it does probably take its toll, or at least it did. I'll say just for me, it probably in the end took its toll on me because I did very much feel like you felt. We just never discussed it.
Yeah. So you say you were spoiled by your aunties?
Yes.
So was I.
Yeah.
I was too.
Yeah.
I mean, my aunties, because a couple of my aunties were only like 10, 12, 15 years older than me,
Yeah.
So I was like a baby doll to them, you know what I'm saying?
But the same on my side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, being spoiled by my aunties, really on both sides, because on my mom's side, my aunties are close in my age.
Yeah.
And then on my dad's side, they aren't. Well, I just got spoiled either way. It really didn't matter. And I was just probably a lovable cat.
Okay. Okay.
Of course, I also took it all in,
Yeah.
and you don't know how each child's going to do. And I did not know really that I was spoiled like that probably until adulthood.
Okay.
And that's really when it came out.
Yeah. I know I got spoiled by my aunties on my father's side, right? For sure, because they would say, they tell me stories of how they would sneak me into school. They'd stick me in and have me up underneath the table in the lunchroom. But
Really?
yeah, I'm letting all the secrets out.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
And then my aunties on my mother's side. I think I'm gonna tell you what. If there was anybody that would spoil me, I'm a mama's boy. She
Mhm.
she she did the worst to me, right? In terms of spoiling. I mean, even still to this day, right? But my aunties on my mother's side, they treated me fairly, I believe.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and my aunt Linda, the one who just recently
Right.
passed, she reminds me, every time I talk with her, she would remind me of how we came down to visit, and I made cream of
Mhm.
wheat for her. That was the highlight of her.
'Cause you made something for her.
I made
Yes.
something for her,
Yes.
and yeah, she never had cream of wheat. If you've never had cream of wheat, um, sprinkle a little bit of vanilla flavoring in it.
Mhm.
It actually has a little kick to it. So not thank you. There's a tip for you.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
love Aunt Linda.
yeah, Aunt Linda. So anyway, so yeah, we're spoiled on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't think we realized either of us were dealing with that.
right,
Um, but it was just kind of a mindset. And I'm not even saying don't spoil your kids, because that's not what I'm saying at all. Because
right.
we turned right around and spoiled our sons,
Yeah.
and so did all of our family
Oh
members.
man, I mean, what would we
you
say? Was
know,
that the best job or the worst job? Is
Look,
spoiling
I
them
don't know.
because
What I do know was I was loved by my family members,
yeah,
and in the end, that's what I took away from it.
yeah.
And still loved. And I wasn't the only one spoiled; they ended up spoiling all of us.
Yeah.
I just happened to be first.
So, to your point, right? And you hit on this just a moment ago, but when two people come together, you're two individuals that think differently, right? I
Hmm.
mean, your attraction may be, a physical attraction, or you just like the way we treat each other, but our thinking, our thought process, the way we see the world around us is much different.
Yeah,
And oftentimes that is tendered by the experiences that we have had growing up.
absolutely.
And when we are coming together, we don't fully understand the history, the childhood, the things that made us who we are today,
Good and bad.
good and bad.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then there's no way that we can fully understand how to um, to work together.
True.
You know, um, so
Be in a healthy relationship with your spouse. You really have to know yourself.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're growing up together.
yeah,
that's that's what we did.
yeah, yeah. We's grown now.
Yeah, yeah, we grew up together, and honestly, in the end, I was thankful that it was you because, just I don't know, I don't see me being who I am today if I had married someone else.
Mm.
So I was happy that it's you that I married and that God gave me you so that you could have the patience to deal with me.
Well, you know what? Here's how I think, right? I'm glad that it was me that you married. I'm glad it was me that you married.
Yes, yes, yes.
So what are some of the goals that we should put forth as we are talking about resolving conflict and growing together in our marriage, right?
Yeah, one of the things that I mentioned about being stressed out and having drama, let me tell you something. Protecting your peace,
Mm,
that's a serious thing.
yes.
And interestingly enough, it's a phrase that's more on the popular side now,
Yeah.
but I have always been one to protect my peace, not even knowing that that's what it was.
Yeah.
But even at home, you have to protect your peace.
Yes.
And I don't think that people always realize that. But if you're arguing with your spouse all the time, that's not peaceful.
Hmm.
If you're constantly mad at your spouse or, whatever the case, that's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So then even at home, protect your peace because your home should be peaceful. That's where your
Listen,
peace is.
my home is my castle,
Yes,
and that's where I should find rest and relaxation.
absolutely. Because there's a lot of things, crazy drivers. It could be something,
Yeah.
that you may not deal with all the time, but you dealt with a bad day at work with some
Yeah.
crazy employees
Yeah.
or, drivers driving all out the way and wrong on the
So
way
I
home.
definitely don't
Both of
need
those
no.
things can happen in one day. So then when you get home,
Yeah, I don't need no crazy
you don't,
woman.
now. But yes, you want to be able to come into a peaceful home
Yeah. All
and
right. So
allow it to be. Yeah,
so we're protecting our
we're
peace.
protecting our peace,
Protect.
even in the home,
Yeah.
prioritizing your peace in daily life with friends, family, work.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you have to, because there again, when you say in daily life, friends, work, family, those things, we tend to bring them things home.
Yeah.
We tend to bring that home. If if something went wrong at work, then I'm ready for that smoke even when I come home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not.
If you don't release it yet, that is correct. Or if
Yeah.
you haven't placed it aside so that you can allow that peace and tranquility to come to you when you walk in the door
Hmm.
at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know for one, I sing in the car.
Do you?
I do.
Glad we drive different cars. No, just teasing.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes I go into full on worship because I'll need it at that time, or a particular song came on, and those are the words I needed for whatever was going on with my life that day.
Yeah.
Um, and so that allows me to kind of get it out.
Okay.
Shopping is another one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I like working on projects, particularly by myself. When I keep saying it's therapeutic for me, but it gives me a release.
Yeah, I mean, if it's therapeutic, it's therapeutic.
Yeah. It gives me an opportunity to really kind of be alone with my thoughts, or depending on what it is, no thought at all.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
there are times when I'm not thinking about anything, and so yeah, that's how I deal with some of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
House chores used to be mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If I was angry, I'd clean this whole house, whether I had just cleaned it or not,
Hmm.
just because I needed to get it out.
Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting.
All right. Keep the outside stresses out of your marriage.
That's right. 'Cause they
You
ain't
can
got nothing to
discuss
do with
them.
them.
Right. You can discuss them. Hey, babe, look, this is what happened to me today. You won't believe this.
Yeah.
You can discuss it with your mate, but don't allow the issues to become a part of your marriage.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is still protecting your peace, because not only that, but you have to prioritize your peace as a couple.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not just about your peace.
That's right. Not just you. Right. You're right. You're right.
Prioritizing it as a couple. Be of comfort and show empathy to your spouse.
Yeah. And that's where that was a challenge, because trying to figure out how to empathize and how to say the right things. What words can I say to really comfort you in times when you were frustrated?
Mhm.
You know, um, particularly when you had certain jobs that brought you a bunch of stress,
Yeah.
and you would bring that home and you would talk about it, and I'm like, oh,
Just sad. Just no help at all.
none.
But I was actually okay to an extent because I just needed to pull it off my chest.
Yeah.
I just needed to talk about it. And sometimes it didn't even matter. I just had to go. I just had to say it. And
Yeah.
then once I said it, I was like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah. Just like when we went to lunch that
Yep.
day. The story there was we went to lunch and sat for 20 minutes before we got up to eat anything. So we talked about, was that on last episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of those episodes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, well, look, a couple things that we do want to share on top of those things, right? We're talking
Yeah.
about protecting your peace. So Ephesians 4:26 says, "Be ye angry and sin not. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath." Yes, we should handle the situation as quickly as possible, and we should discuss it when things happen so that we can get it out of the way. But when you're tired, or when you're hungry, or when there's other stressors around, you may want to table it for a little while, because those things are going to compromise your ability to be
Effective in discussing.
yeah. Yeah. So
Because hangry is never a good time to discuss
Oh.
anything.
no, and I'm a different type of hangry too.
Yeah, when I'm hangry, it's not.
Yeah, yeah. And you want to try to work out any compromise so the frustration or the frustrating problem doesn't turn into resentment or constant anger.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than resenting your spouse. We talk about, I tease about being triggered by different things, but
Mhm.
one thing that I will say, that when we experience stressors from outside of the marriage and we are triggered by those things that we experience in the marriage. Meaning, if I do something that reminds you of something else,
Right.
then that becomes a little frustrating because I didn't do that to you.
Correct.
It's not my fault that you feel this way. But yet I did it, so it triggered you. And those are challenging.
Yeah.
Those are pretty tough to deal with. And because there's one thing that I have learned over time is that, how you feel, your perception is real to you.
Correct.
Whether or not I see it, understand it, or
Yeah, it
comprehend
almost doesn't even matter because
doesn't.
those feelings are still valid for me.
Yes. So,
And you have to be empathetic towards those feelings.
Yeah. So I think maybe one of the things that we can lean towards in the next episode is how do we empathize and validate and move forward so that we can find that common ground.
Absolutely.
In our discussions.
Not arguments.
Not arguments.
Discussions.
Yeah. So anyway, something to look forward to, right?
Yes.
All right. So what are our love lessons?
All right. So our love lessons this week: your actions and words can push you away from each other or bring you closer. So think before speaking.
Think before speaking.
And the next one.
Okay.
And this is the last one for this week. Schedule a time to discuss. So sometimes you can be in need of a good argument and to discuss the conflict. But don't do it when you're hungry. We already said that. Make sure that your words and things and you thought through them.
Yeah.
But then, you want to be able to schedule that time. Sometimes it can't be right then.
Yeah.
There are things going on and you got to go take this kid here or you got to be at this event at work. That particular day may not be a good day to discuss it.
That's right.
So then wait a few days. They call it the 3-day rule, actually. But also, if not 3 days, then maybe say, okay, you got a few moments tomorrow about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let's go meet for lunch and let's discuss it then.
Yeah.
You're going to have to resolve it within that hour because lunchtime is only a certain time.
And then it's in a public place, so you can't act a fool.
So yes, but being able to schedule that time can actually help with the discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And help bring things to a resolve.
Yeah. And it also gives you time to still work through how you feel and then how you present.
Yes.
That's how I use that time. I try to figure out the best words I can use to really articulate how I feel. And then oftentimes, what happens when I take that time, I kind of also consider how you may see it.
Yes.
And then I may not feel as bad, but yet still want to talk about it.
Right. Absolutely. I know for me, and I don't always do this, though I should, but I don't always do this, and I can confess. Oftentimes I will sing is another one, or hum through a song, or pray about it. Because I want to be able to come calm. Because sometimes when you can come calm and then, we get a little worked up in the midst of it. But I want to be able to remain in the midst of the discussion, in the conversation. So, but also not be shy or scared to discuss it.
Right. Okay.
All right. So that's pretty much it. We gave y'all enough information today.
A whole lot of information today.
All right, so make sure you go back and listen to our previous podcast of how to argue with your spouse. Today was conflict resolution. Thanks for joining us on the Marriage Be Like podcast.
Yes.
On Envision Radio.
Envision-radio.com.
You can join us each week, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, come check us out on our website, marriagebelike.com, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcast.
That's right. All right. Well, we thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you next week on the Marriage Be Like podcast.
All right. Bye-bye.